Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another weekly pickup video, and I think I can honestly say that this week has proven to be the biggest pickup week ever for me. There is so much stuff, it's unbelievable. I don't know, more than anything else, I don't know how the bank account has managed this, and I don't know how I'm going to get the time for it all. That's the bigger problem here. So let's get into this lot, shall we? Let's get into it. Okay, so welcome back to the channel, everyone. Welcome to episode, whatever it may be, of my weekly pickup video, where I do have a wealth of stuff here, as you can see by the thumbnail and by what I'm holding up. It's a lot, and it comprises DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, I think it's some Steelbooks, collector's editions, all that sort of nonsense, bootlegs, all that sort of nonsense in there. And yes, this week has proved to be excessive. This month has turned excessive. I went into the month thinking I wasn't going to be picking much up. It's going to be a quiet month, which is great for the pocket. Unfortunately, things haven't worked out that way. I've visited 4 CEXs this week. 4. I don't really enjoy visiting CEX anymore, but when I go to ones that I haven't been to, or I haven't been to in a very, very long time, generally I might find something. When I go to my regular ones, which I've stopped doing on a regular basis now, even my local I've not been to in probably almost a month now, I think, because it's the same old stuff on the shelves, and it's quite tiring to look through the same old stuff over and over again, and I think that's bothering me. So I'm not really visiting the local ones that often. When I go Bromley, I don't even bother going into Bromley. I've stepped into Bromley. Last time I went to Bromley, I stepped into CEX. I started looking and I thought I can't even be bothered to look, and I just stepped out. When I go to Croydon, very rarely do I go up to the Croydon one now, and my local one very rarely do I pop into. So I went to Woolwich, which is one that I rarely get down to. Usually I get my wife to pick me anything up in there. I went to Deptford twice because I had to go back and pick something up for Matt that he saw in my video. And then obviously when I was out with Matt and Chris yesterday, the video is up for that. It came up earlier today, you can check that out. There was stuff there as well, because again, Peterborough, 2 CEXs, one that's newly opened, newer stuff, as in stuff I haven't, you know what I mean, it feels fresher looking through that stuff. So let me not waste any more time and let's get on with proceedings here. And this is in no particular order. I'm going to take it as it comes. So let's do it. So first up, a DVD, and this came from Peterborough, and it was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids for £1.50. Now, obviously being a Disney movie, it hasn't got a Blu-ray release, not in this country anyway. It might be available through the Disney Club in the US, but I saw it, I thought, you know, I'd done a short on this the other day, behind the scenes, when I'm doing these behind the scenes shorts. Go and check them out, sort of, no, it's not called behind the scenes, it's called Movie Magic Revealed, and they're just, you know, 10, 20, 30 seconds, little clip of the film, and then I throw in a photo of a behind the scenes picture relating to that part of the film, and you can see a little bit of the movie magic. And one was I'd done one for this, and then it's not a film I got in the collection. I saw it, I thought, you know, this was always a good film back in the day, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I never really got into the sequels to it. I think I may have seen the second sequel. I don't know how many there was now, but certainly the first one, Rick Moranis, it was a classic film with some really good special effects for its time period. So that's that one. Then these first 3 here, Matt actually picked up for me. I went to CEX down here. I picked up Matt the Black Widow 4K. You may have seen it on his channel. I said to him, look, don't worry about the money, the £3 extra, because he sent me over, it was £8 that was, and he sent me over a £5 voucher, a photo of for me to use. I said, don't worry about the £3. He said, well, if we see anything in CEX, I'll pick it up for you, sort of as way of a, sort of, do you know what I mean? So that's how I got these 3, and they were only cheap. Next up was the film Red Tails, which is World War II, about the black fighter pilots. You know, Cuba Gooding Jr. and Terrence Howard, so it's got a strong duo there in itself, and it's got a lovely lenticular on it, really nice. Look at that, beautiful. That, you know, that's got some fantastic depth to it. And then another one that was a lenticular, and I don't know nothing about the film other than Rebecca De Mornay is in it, and it's Apartment 1303, and again with a lovely lenticular on it. So thank you, Matt, for those. Again with a lot of depth, so they were nice. Whilst there also, I picked up in the other CEX, in that same CEX, I picked myself up season 4 of Westworld, the final season. It was £6. I waited for the price on this one to drop to, well, practically nothing. Well, £6. I'm not going to these at £6 for a TV series. Unfortunately, it was the final series. It does end without having an ending, shall we say, on a cliffhanger. So, thusly, it was one I waited to go low to pick it up. And they had it, and thusly I grabbed it. And then in the other CEX that was there, I picked up Officer and a Gentleman. It was £3, not a film I've got in the collection. Not a film that I've seen for a very, very long time, with Deborah Winger's in it. Obviously, Richard Gere is the star of it. I don't believe there's any gerbils in sight. Well, they wouldn't be, would they? You're not going to see them gerbils. Was it gerbil or hamster? I can't remember now, but anyway. Up it goes. Anyway, next up was High School of the Dead, which is an anime series that went for 12 episodes. Zombies in a high school type of thing. I'm just getting more into anime now. I never used to be, but I'm sort of, you know, stretching my legs into it more so. And this it's 3 discs, and it's got the complete series, and also a DVD in there of Drifters of the Dead, which is another anime. I believe it is a film, but that's only on DVD within there. And yeah, so I picked that one up. Again, I don't think that one it was due. You know, it should have continued into a season 2. It never did, so it kind of doesn't have a proper conclusion in that sense. But there we go. And then Chris kindly gave me this because he had a spare one, and it is because he knows I'm getting into the anime side of things, and it is Kashan Robot Hunter. I've got no idea what this one's about, but Chris does like his anime stuff, and he really does. He's really into it. Even with that one there, I saw it on the shelf, and before I grabbed it, I said, Chris, do you want, are you interested in that? Because you're more into it than me, so if you want to take it, he goes, no, he's got it on DVD, so there we go. So yeah, that's that. Thank you, Chris. Thank you to Matt and Chris for those bits that were intertwined by a couple of bits that I picked up. Anyway, moving on. A couple of bootlegs this week. First up was The Max, the complete series of The Max. The Max is a comic book that was created by he's called Sam Keith, who used to work for Marvel, and he moved over to Image with the Image bunch in the early 90s when they set up that. So it's a creator-owned character, drawn and the comics drawn and written by Sam Keith. And the TV show ran for 12 episodes, I believe. It was on MTV, and it's very much in vein with the comic book. The art is all there, the animation of how it looks, it's there on screen. Sam Keith, he's got a very distinct style of animation, so much so that a lot of people may not like it. He used to draw a lot of covers to Marvel Comics Presents. And he's got, he's one of them styles that when you see it, you know it's him. I mean, it's so different from anyone else. It really is a sort of weird and wonderful art style that this geezer's got. And the Max comics was something that I used to read back in the day. More recently, over the past couple of years, there was a Max and Batman crossover, DC and Image Comics, and so that's the TV series of that. Now, this did actually have a DVD release stateside. I could have got that. It would cost me about 20 quid, but I got my bootleg fella to do it for me onto And then the other bootleg is the TV pilot for Aquaman. I believe this was 2006, starring the geezer who played Green Arrow in Smallville. Ving Rhames is in this as well. And it weren't a bad pilot, but it never went to series. And I like these sort of failed... they intrigue me, these failed concepts that never got to be. Obviously, the week before, I picked up Wonder Woman. And I've got another one coming that will be shown sometime in the week. So keep an eye out for that, of a failed TV superhero thing. Way before what, you know, Marvel and DC are doing now. So, yeah, that's Aquaman. Fantastic. So, moving on. We have the TV series, the complete TV series on DVD of The Office. Now, I did have these somewhere on disc. I've done a couple of house moves since then. When I moved out of DVD, or when Blu-ray became the prominent format for me, what I've done with all my DVDs is that I condensed them down into like files, the discs, and I had the covers taken out of their cases separate and this sort of a thing. And a lot of the discs, I don't know where they are. So things like The Office, I ain't got a clue where it is. It's probably up in the attic in a box somewhere, and in a couple of decades, who knows when, I may come across it whenever I need to go up there and start searching for stuff. But in the meantime, £2.50 for the complete series. I'll keep it boxed this time. It's a classic series. I love this. I love the American Office that I have all of them of. If I was to pick one or the other, I would go with the American Office. And that's not a slight on this TV series here. It's just the American Office from season 2 done its own thing. It created its own... you know, it became its own monster, shall we say. It became big. And it's very, very enjoyable. I love it. It's very funny, but this, you know, it's uncomfortable viewing this one, like what Ricky Gervais used to do, but it's still a great series. But yeah, if I had to choose from one or the other, I'd say the American one, just because there's so much of it, and it goes on for like, what did it do, 11 seasons or something like that? Was it 11 seasons? I can't remember now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 seasons, I think. I can't, 10 or 11. Yeah, and there's just so much more of it, and I do watch it on a regular basis, and you know, I'm a big fan of Steve Carell. I think he's a fantastic actor, fantastic comedian. I find him very, very watchable. And The Office has a fantastic cast to it. Okay, it dropped off in the last few seasons where Steve Carell had left. James Spader, I love James Spader in it. I think he's fantastic as well. I think he's a fantastic actor. Just the way he delivers his lines, he's got such a unique voice as well, James Spader. He's got a wonderful voice, he really has. But anyway, enough about The Office. Moving on, we have Mortal Kombat Legends Cage Match, the 4th animated Mortal Kombat movie, this one being set in the 1980s. And boy, does it feel like it is set in the 1980s. It's even got silly 1980s kind of rock songs in the mix as well, that I don't believe they're from that era. I believe they've been written for this film, but they're much like, they bring back things like Rocky 4, Transformers the movie, that sort of a thing, you know, where you have that it's like an advert for, or it's like a music video, do you know what I mean? But visually, it's, you know, this looks really good. It's a fun film, probably not the strongest of the animated in the Mortal Kombat series of movies, animated movies, but one hell of a lot of fun with a good voice cast in, I forget his name, the geezer who's the main star of the Community, TV show Community, and Jennifer Grey is in it as well. Jennifer Grey from 1980s Dirty Dancing, things like that. She voices in it as well as a character called Jennifer from that era, so it's very fitting. She's an actress. Yeah, very good film. A lot of fun. Then 2 DVDs I've picked up. I'll show these both together, and it is Hellboy, Sword of Storms, and Blood and Iron. Again, I used to have these on DVD from the US, imported. Again, same situation as with The Office. I ain't got a clue where they are, that they had these. I went in, I picked up the first one, fantastic. It's got slip cover with spot glossing on, really nice condition. And then I went to Woolwich because they had the other one. I picked that up as well. It's got a comic book within. Fantastic. So yeah, and these are voiced by, you know, Ron Perlman, Selma Blair, Doug Jones, even John Hurt in that one. So the cast, the voice cast from the Hellboy films, those earlier Hellboy films, voicing in here. So they're kind of like a continuation of those. Not a continuation in the sense of this is what your third Hellboy film would have been, but they're set within that universe of Hellboy. And yeah, you know, Mike Mignola is the creator of Hellboy. Dark Horse Comics. I've never really read Hellboy as a comic though. I like him in film, just never really got into the comics of Hellboy. And there's that. Now moving on to the next one. Another cheap pickup in CEX, and that was The Hitcher. The Hitcher 2, the second Hitcher film, straight to DVD movie back in the day, starring C. Thomas Howell, Jake Busey and Carrie Wura. Now I know her from something, I can't place what I know her from. Jake Busey, obviously the son of Gary Busey. C. Thomas Howell reprises his role from the first Hitcher film. He was the kid who was in the first one. I like C. Thomas Howell. I really like the film Kid. He done a film called Kid. I do have it somewhere. Hopefully I do have it somewhere, yeah. And so I like C. Thomas Howell quite a bit. He doesn't survive through this film. That's a little spoiler warning. Yeah, unfortunately, everything he went through in the first one, he doesn't survive this one. But yeah, but it's not a patch on the original, but I've not seen it for years and I wanted to give it a revisit. I just dropped it. Next up, we have a steelbook for Luke Cage. Now this was £8. This was in Woolwich CEX, and yeah, it was in fantastic condition, like nigh on perfect. It is perfect condition. I can't, you know, not scratched, not dinked, nothing. And for £8, I weren't going to say no to it. You know, I really like Mike Coulter. Mike Coulter, the actor who played. He was in, you know, Luke Cage. He was in the film Plane with Gerard Butler. I've watched him in a film more recently as well. I think this geezer should be doing more. He certainly should be doing more. He's got the chops for it. I like watching his stuff. This has got a really nice embossing to it. It's like the frame, but then it comes around the character. The character on the front is actually a drawing of Joe Quesada. Joe Quesada was he's a comic book artist. He created the character of Painkiller Jane, which I have the TV series of somewhere. I do have so he created the character of Painkiller Jane, which did get a TV series of its own. Kristana Loken played the role in the primary TV series, but there was a pilot made before that, starring Emmanuel Vega, who was quite prominent in, she had quite a big role in 2.5 Men for a while, was Charlie Sheen's girlfriend in that. Anyway, so Joe Quesada, comic book artist. He did go on to become president of Marvel Comics for a while, some time ago. So that's that one, my steelbook. Next up, oh, we're nearly there, believe me, we're nearly there. I got this from France, and it is the movie Creep, the one set on board the London Underground. Now, I did do a video opening of it saying this ain't available in this country. I neglected to say in that video I meant on Blu-ray. Okay, on Blu-ray this has never had a release in the UK. Yes, on DVD it did. It had a lovely lenticular. I remember that lenticular with the blood hand and all that. But lo and behold, France has it. And the good thing about it is it's got a lot of special features in English. The audio commentary is in English, obviously, and yeah, it's a fun sort of horror film, much in the vein of Descent and that, where the girl gets sort of trapped on the London Underground at night. It's all closed down, and in all the tunnels that are forgotten about under London that connect, there's this creature, this individual that's more monster than man, shall we say, almost like an inbred kind of a thing, like the things you get living underground in Descent. That much of an ilk to that. So imagine Descent but on the London Underground. And yeah, why it hasn't got a release in this country is beyond me. It really is. It's you know, that'd be perfect for like 101 Films or something like that to give that a release, a nice transfer, a nice, you know what I mean? Although saying that, this does actually come with a booklet as well, like a production notes booklet with a lot of writing in and pictures of the film in French. But we can't have it all, can we? Next up, we have the movie City Slickers 2. Yes, Billy Crystal, Daniel Stern, John Lovitz and Jack Palance. The sequel to City Slickers. Big fan of City Slickers. I think it's a fantastic film with a lot of heart to it. A lot of, you know, the journey that the character goes through. When you're at that sort of age and life is just beating you down, where you've sort of lost hope in life, so to speak, and you're not happy, you're just living day to day. This film, it certainly speaks to you, shall we say. So this is part 2. Fantastic that it's finally got a release in the UK, albeit on Blu-ray. Don't really need it on 4K, but yeah, just nice to finally have it. And obviously I do have City Slickers 1, so we'll go with that. So beautiful. Very happy with that one. Very happy that got a release. And then I picked up John Carpenter's Vampires Los Muertos, which is the John Bon Jovi starring sequel to the John Carpenter's Vampires that starred James Woods. Now, I cannot remember this film for love nor money, whether it's any good, whether it isn't any good. It was a straight-to-video sort of sequel to that movie, because it came from that era when there was a lot of straight-to-video type of stuff going on. And I need to give it a rewatch, and yes, Vampires Los Muertos. I love John Carpenter's Vampires. I think it's a highly, wholly underrated John Carpenter movie that doesn't get enough recognition in this day and age. And then we have 2 special editions, and that is it. That is it for this pickup. And it's going on 22 minutes. And we have Hannibal. Hannibal the Cannibal. The last in the trilogy of the Hannibal Lecter saga, because you've got Hannibal Rising, which is the prequel film, which makes it 4 films. But and then you've got Manhunter as well. But the Anthony Hopkins trilogy, this is the second one made, but the last one in chronological order. Hannibal. Obviously, Julianne Moore takes over the role of Clarice Starling. She does a fine job in it. You know, not as good as Jodie Foster, I don't reckon, but I do prefer Julianne Moore as an actress to Jodie Foster. But she's not as good as Jodie Foster. But she ain't far off. She's very good in this film. Hannibal Lecter, Anthony Hopkins is great in the film, although I do prefer Mads Mikkelsen as the character of Hannibal. I will say that. There's moments where he shines as Hannibal, though. It's a great film. Maybe not as good as Silence of the Lambs, but this is a great film, and it's the psychological relationship between him and Clarice that keeps this film going and keeps, you know, and yeah, it's a great film. It really is. So much so that you're left wanting more. You are left you want to see what happens next. If anything does indeed happen next with this character, what happens? It's one of those ones you want to revisit still. You want to know what's happened after this to this character, because he's free. He's out, and he's not free, but he's not been caught. He's, you know, in the end when he's feeding the brains to the kid on the plane. And then what he does to, you know, the late great Ray Liotta. Fantastic stuff, very memorable. But I did watch it. It's a great transfer, fantastic transfer. I watched it the night I got it. On the second night I had it. Yeah, it's really good, and it's obviously it's Ridley Scott, and this is Ridley Scott when Ridley Scott was a decent director. He's not so good now. He's lost it. You see some of the stuff he's directing now. He ain't as good as what he once was. This is what happens. He's past his prime, most definitely. And this here highlights how good a director he actually was. And then the final release, which ain't officially out until Monday, tomorrow, as this is airing, and that is the Quartet of Torment box set for Hellraiser. There were 2 available, one direct from Arrow Video, which was the other Cenobite, the Chatter or whatever you call it. I went with the standard Pinhead one, primarily because I just couldn't be bothered ordering off of Amazon website. Yes, now Hellraiser films for me, I don't mind the first 3 Hellraiser films. I'll be honest, I don't think I've seen Bloodlines that is included in here. It's got a work print with it as well. The Hellraiser films after that, I can take them or leave them. I've seen some of them. I haven't bothered with others. I'd never got to the end of the new Hellraiser with the female Pinhead in it. I didn't get to the end of that remake. I thought it was pretty lousy. The others are straight to video fare, so you know their quality, yeah, up and down, more down than anything else, I'll say. So a lot of them have just sort of gone by without even being holding any interest to me. However, Hellraiser 1 I remember seeing when I was a young lad. Totally didn't understand what I was seeing, but it had effective visuals for a young person. It was quite a sort of visually disgusting film, like when you got the unskinned thing, you know, when it's, you know, it's in the attic or whatever it is, or in the house, as I recall. It's been some time since I've visited it. And then Hellraiser 2, just way out there whatsoever. As a kid, I always thought Hellraiser 3 was sort of the most easily accessible Hellraiser film, the one where it was more Hollywoody, shall we say, just more akin to what I thought it should be. But going back watching them, I haven't watched them yet, but I'm assuming going back watching them, there's a lot more psychology involved than what I recall, because like I said, it has been 1 and 2, because it's been some time, and Hellraiser 3 being more of a sort of easily accessible Hellraiser film, doesn't hold as much, as many layers as those earlier Hellraiser films. Yeah, but anyway, so that comes with a lovely thick book. I mean, hardback, thick, you know, there's so many pages in that, look, and it's just all writing, hardly any pictures, all writing. And you know, I do love to have a read from time to time. Yes, so there we go. Those very busy week, you know, probably the busiest pickup week I have ever had. It's been multiplied by the fact of visiting four CEXs that I haven't been to in some time, and you know, Hellraiser coming early, etc, and yeah, it's been, oh, now I've got to watch all this stuff. And that's the problem with a collection like this, with all this around me, behind me. Sometimes I was saying this with the lads yesterday when I met Matt and Chris, and I was saying, you know, it's all well and good, because I've got loads of TV series, loads and loads of TV series, and I wouldn't give them up for anything. I really wouldn't. I love my collection of TV series. But, you know, certainly where life is considered, let's say that I live a normal lifespan, you know, into my 80s, going into my 90s, and pass away sometime then, we're at a point where most definitely I'm past that point of no return, so to speak. There is far more behind me, or there is more behind me than what there is in front of me now. And realistically speaking, will I ever watch everything that I've got? And then I keep adding to it. Will I watch it all? The answer's no. You know, realistically, if you're sat there watching this, you've got a massive big collection of physical media, right? Ask yourself whether you think that your lifespan allows you, even if you live that long, you know, to a ripe old age. You know, we don't know what's around the corner. You know, your heart's only got so many beats in it. I could step out tomorrow and I'm hit by a bus, right? You just don't know, do you? You don't know what each day has for you. But I'm working on the basis of living at a decent old age. Whether I want that or not is another thing. That's another question, because, you know, do I really want to get to an age where I have to suffer the indignity of trying to get to the toilet on time? I don't know. And also, you know, when you get old, you revert back into a childlike state. You know, you come into this world, you've got no hair, you've got no teeth, you've got the inability to walk, you've got the inability to feed yourself, you've got the inability to toilet yourself. You've got the inability to feed yourself, right? And for old people, unfortunately, the cycle is that it goes back to that in a lot of cases. You know, my bones don't hold me anymore. I can't walk. I need walking aids. My teeth have all dropped out. My hair is all but gone. That's why I grow the beard. I try and grow a beard every now and then. It just makes me feel better. It kind of offsets the balding. Do you know what I mean? It kind of takes the focus away by the fact that I'm losing it up there. So let's grow it there. Let's grow it where I can grow it. But you know what I'm saying? You know, it's like a reversal. It's like a childlike state, and for some people it's really bad in the sense that you can't speak, you can't communicate, your memories failed you. Do you really want that in later life? You know, I don't know. Sometimes I think I'd rather check out early, to be honest. But certainly before we get to that stage. And then all this stuff around me is probably ripe for a landfill. That's the harsh reality of it. But there we go. Anyway, I've kept up enough to your time because I've gone over 30 minutes with this one. It's been a long one. And if you've sat all the way through it, then well done to you. Hats off to you. Thank you as well. And I'll see you on the next one. Now, I'm pretty sure that next week's pickup video is going to be nowhere the size of this. I think the bank account will make that make that the case. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Take care, all, and goodbye.